4 days. Duluth, Minnesota. What can you do? A lot of things. So come on, watch me do them. In 2023, for the first time in my life, I went to Duluth, Minnesota, and I enjoyed it so much that I decided I would come back again in 2024. That's what this video is about. This time we flew into the Duluth airport, which is a really small, really great airport. It's super simple. And then we headed over to our lodging for the trip. We were staying in the Canal Park Lodge, which unsurprisingly is in Canal Park, and that's a location that puts us close to a lot of things. Nevertheless, we planned to venture all around Duluth and indeed pretty far outside of town, so we'd rented a car. Directly to the rear of our hotel was Lake Superior and the great views of it. The Superior hiking trail runs along the lake at this point. Let's have a quick look around our hotel room. We were in room 346, and there is significance to the third floor. The room was not opulent, but it was clean and pleasant. It had nice touches like a lot of pillows, the expected screen, a workspace. Oh, but about the third floor, check out this city view. Bet that's why the lake view rooms were all booked. Nice big bathroom, full tub. It even had a toilet. Now let me warn you, I am an unabashed fan of the Duluth Aerial Lift Bridge, so you're going to see a lot of it in this video. It has become a good grounding landmark for me in this town. As you can see, the entire bridge deck lifts up and down rather than it swinging like maybe a drawbridge. And it has to go up a full 135 feet to accommodate the huge ships that come in and out of this port. Some of the ore freighters that traverse the lake are over 1,000 feet long. I took this video from the side of the bridge that's nearer to the town. On the other side are a number of homes. When the bridge is up, you get to stay home for a little while. Well, that's not a Laker, that's the dinner cruise. And spoiler alert, you'll see more about that here in a little bit. Let's see if they'll exchange salutes with their horns. First the ship. And now the bridge answers. I don't know, I just think that's a really neat thing they do. As the bridge was lowering again, I became very much aware of a thunderstorm not far away. As I watch this part of the video now, I wonder why I was standing under a large metal structure during a lightning storm. I mean, I was fine, it was far away, but still not what I was taught to do. Just as I'm a fan of the bridge, I'm a fan of thunderstorms, so I took some footage of that as well. But as is many times the case, with a thunderstorm comes rain, and it was getting to be time to go inside. Or at least not to be standing under the tallest metal structure in the area. I mean, I'm sure it has lightning rods, right? Right? Came here to have new experiences, but getting struck by lightning was not on the list, so we moved on. And sure enough, as soon as we were back in our room, it was pouring. Oh well, it's time for bed anyway. We had a lot planned for the next day. So that next day started with our included hotel breakfast in this neat machine that you can make pancakes with, and off to the rental car for adventures. If you subscribe to the channel, and by the way, you really should, you know that we really like cats, and so we found the Wired Whisker, a great cat cafe. The cafe portion was satisfyingly cat-themed in both the decor and the food. And they serve Kittytown coffee, which is what we drink at home. We aren't supported by Kittytown coffee, but yeah, it's really good. Having had our lovely pastry and coffee, it was time to see some cats, and they have a beautiful cat room. Guests get an hour to play with and observe the cats. And on the September day that we visited, there were quite a number. Now that's simultaneously good and bad because these cats are being really well looked after, but they need homes. Now it looks like they're successful in finding homes for them, but you can help out too. If you need a cat and you're in this area, check it out. And I'll just observe I referred to a cat as something you need, not something that you want. Anyway, let's play a bit. As our hour drew to a close, we realized that we would be leaving with the same number of cats we came with, but it was on to other adventures. Next up was downtown, which started with a quick stop at the casino, where I quickly found out you're not supposed to film, so this is all I got, and I hope it's okay I even used it. Emerging less wealthy from the casino, we walked down to a small park with great views of Lake Superior. A second thing we do on a lot of our trips is go to local breweries, and this was no exception. Here is Blacklist Brewery downtown. We got there at 11:30, so don't judge it by the number of people here. It was good. But we found out it's not really a lunch place, doesn't really have food, so keep that in mind. But that was no hardship. We went back to Canal Park for tacos at Chaco's. Okay. For all of my life, I wanted to ride in a helicopter, and today we were going to do it. Lake Superior Helicopters offers journeys of various durations. We took one of the shorter ones, but check this out. You can hear us receiving the safety briefing as we approach the helicopter. The helicopter was small, but from start to finish the operation gave us great confidence. You can tell I was expecting a little queasiness, but actually the flight was quite smooth. go. And there's the bridge again. We had selected the 15-minute tour over Duluth Harbor, and it was flying by. Oh, sorry about that. See that ship at the dock? That's the Mishipacote. It cracked its hull earlier that year and was being repaired. From what I understand, it was pretty dramatic. It nearly sank. Too soon for me, but probably right on time for my wife. It was time to land. For me, this flight on Lake Superior helicopters was 10 of 10. Would recommend. Okay, so what's next? Well, what's next is a sunset dinner cruise on the Vista Star out on Lake Superior.
Please do not stand or kneel.
This 90-minute trip combines a guided tour with a good meal. And there's the bridge again. We're going to see it from both sides during this cruise. The cruise starts in Lake Superior Harbor. There's the airport from which we took the helicopter ride. These are the docks where they load the taconite ore. Now we're leaving the harbor and heading out into Lake Superior itself. On a dinner cruise, you only get a tiny example of how vast this lake must be.
Nice night out tonight, huh?
It really is. Well, it's not a sunset dinner cruise unless you get to see a sunset, and we did. The captain actually checked on this kayaker to make sure he was okay. To re-enter Duluth Harbor, we were going to have to pass under the Aerial Lift Bridge. And I freely admit this was something I was looking forward to doing. That meant we'd see the bridge raise and we would also get the salute. And here we go, bridge going up. bridge operator sits in that booth, which also goes up and down with the bridge. If there's going to be a salute, the ship sounds its horn first, and then the bridge responds. And that's about it for a very pleasant dinner cruise. Back to the Canal Park Lodge to rest up for the next day. Many visitors to Duluth head up the North Shore. There are a lot of different things you can do on the North Shore, but I'll show you what we did. First stop, Two Harbors. Two Harbors is indeed still a working harbor. The Edgar Spear is a bulk carrier, and it's over 1,000 feet in length. The Titanic was 882 feet long. Now this was still mid-morning and the weather was getting a little iffy for us. And it's no surprise you take the weather very seriously up here. We gave the actual tour of the Two Harbors Light Station a miss. Some rain did catch up with us, but we used our time wisely and went to Betty's Pies. Betty's Pies is actually pretty famous on this stretch of the highway. Definitely worth the stop. Oh wait, I stand corrected. It's world famous, Betty's Pies. The next stop was Split Rock Park. It features a small but interesting museum, a lighthouse, and actually one of the best gift shops we encountered on our entire trip. Given the ominous effect that the weather has on this area, we were actually probably out at a very good time. It rather set the mood, but it also cleared up. After a good bit of driving that you don't necessarily want to watch in a video, we got to Grand Marais. And not surprisingly, we had to try the local craft beer. Voyageur Brewing has a really nice building, really good selection, and excellent merch. And it wasn't my favorite beer, but it might be yours. There's a lot more to recommend a trip to Grand Marais than the beer, though. Let's begin with this picturesque harbor. The town itself was small, but had nostalgic elements for me. Is that a Ben Franklin? It looked like it had a lot of interesting restaurants, but it also had the world's best donuts. I'll have to eat donuts in a number of other countries before I can guarantee that this is correct. We spotted at least one sandy beach. Well, we'd already had the beer, so now it was time for the coffee, and so we went to Java Moose. I'm an unabashed fan of places like these. One last look at the harbor before we started heading back to Duluth. On the way back to Duluth, we stopped at Gooseberry Falls State Park. After a brief look around the visitor center, I headed out to the waterfalls. There's actually more than one waterfall, but we were getting tired, it was getting late, so I only saw this one. It was a good one to see though. If you enjoy hiking, this place deserves a lot more time than I gave it. Our final stop was Two Harbors for Castle Danger Brewery. And you're remembering correctly, we had been in Two Harbors before. We went back. This place was hopping. Come by its products in a couple of other places, but we, of course, had to try it here too. And if you're into that sort of thing, they have great merch for your souvenir. Returning to Duluth from Two Harbors, we caught yet another magnificent sunset. Then it was back through downtown, back to our hotel. Another day done and dusted. Our Sunday started at Dunn Brothers Coffee. This is a regional chain with over 40 stores all in or around Minnesota. But they focus on trying to create a local coffee shop experience, and they do a pretty good job of it. Next up was the Lake Superior Zoo. Admittedly, we're not super big fans of zoos, but this one had a palace cat. The zoo is small and well laid out. It's not too hard to get around, and you'll see a lot of different animals. And while this chipmunk was free to roam around as he saw fit, there were plenty of animals that were in spaces that were just not really to my liking. I will say this though, there were plenty of signs indicating that the animals were well cared for and that the zookeepers knew exactly what they were doing. Do you have these kinds of equivocal thoughts about zoos? If so, leave a comment and tell me how you feel. But here's just one quick example that the zoo's heart is in the right place. Well, but on to the animals. Here's a pile of marsupials. And here's a kookaburra, which may or may not be in an old gum tree. I have to say, I really enjoy being able to see an animal like a wolf this close. If it hasn't come through yet, we're big fans of anything in the cat family, so we enjoyed this cougar as well. She was just doing cat things. Okay, so goats and hogs aren't really what you expect to see at a zoo, but this zoo was also set up for children. What did you expect? The little kids I saw here were having a blast. They even had a train. As we entered the primate room and the nocturnal room, we saw some really fun things. I'll bet you that's a ring-tailed lemur. Never seen a calico before, but now I want one. Once in the nocturnal room, the lighting got very strange. This is a genet cat getting its exercise. Here are a couple of bats doing bat things. And here is the palace cat. It's very rare to find them in zoos, and it's really hard to see anything in this particular zoo, but I promise you there is one there. See it? Back outside to the more normal lighting. I grew up in an area with prairie dogs, so this was a throwback. Here's the exit and the gift shop. After the zoo, we headed to Superior, Wisconsin for an absolutely decadent chicken fried steak breakfast. And then we kept going all the way to Bayfield, Wisconsin. That's a drive of about 90 minutes. We didn't know a whole lot about Bayfield. We figured we'd just go there and poke around a bit. Bayfield is the stepping off point to go to the Apostle Islands either by ferry or by tour. And we hadn't allowed time to do that, so it was land-based. Next time I would definitely leave time to get to the Apostle Islands. If that's something you've done before, leave a comment and tell me the best way to do it. And with that ends our long weekend in Duluth. I can't wait to get back. I hope you liked the video, and you'll see me next time. It's not too late to like and subscribe, and I sure would appreciate it. Bye!